Hello everyone, here's what's coming up on The World Today. 6 people killed in a school stabbing in China's Guangdong province. Plus, South Africans wake up to rare snowfall morning, transforming Johannesburg into a captivating winter wonderland. Moving on from the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but staying with Russia, Speaker of the Upper House of Parliament, Valentina Matvienko, says her country will continue to cooperate with China and can count on China's friendly shoulder. She was making the remark during a brief meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping earlier today. Matvienko said the main thing she took away from the meeting is that China will consistently and persistently continue cooperation with Russia and preserve the friendship that exists between both countries and people. In China, however, 6 people died after a stabbing attack in the Guangdong province. The attack happened earlier today, just as parents were dropping their children off for summer classes. Police have in custody a young man named Wu. Videos of the attack have spread on Chinese social media, sparking outrage and shock. According to the BBC, there have been at least 17 knife attacks in Chinese schools, colleges and universities since 2010. And over in the West Bank, a Palestinian assailant is reported to have thrown a grenade and shot at Israeli soldiers who returned fire. The assailant died in the attack. Violence in the West Bank among territories where the Palestinians seek to establish a state has worsened over the past 15 months, with stepped-up Israeli raids, Palestinian street attacks and assaults by Jewish settlers on Palestinian villages. The Israeli military said soldiers had stopped a suspicious motorist on West Bank Road and questioned him, after which he exited the vehicle, threw a grenade at the forces and fired at them before they shot back and neutralized him. Regional leaders in Eastern Africa are meeting in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, to discuss the political crisis in Sudan. The meeting is supposed to bring together representatives of the Sudanese army and the rival paramilitary rapid support forces. However, the Sudanese Foreign Ministry has accused Kenya, the current IGAD chair, of not being neutral, something the Nairobi government denies. The 3-month-long conflict has displaced around 3 million people and is threatening the stability of the entire region. Well, as regional leaders meet in the Ethiopian capital, Professor Brooke Sheba, political and international affairs analyst, believes dialogue is the only solution to solving the crisis in Sudan. He says either the Army General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan concedes, or his former deputy and ally, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, who commands the powerful paramilitary rapid support forces, steps down. Professor Sheba believes their concessions and agreements would play a major role in ending the conflict. He was speaking on our Foreign Affairs program, Diplomatic Channel.
And as to the cause, really, it is a fight between 2 generals who know each other for many, many years. That's why some analysts will say this is also a fight between quote-unquote, the 2 egos of the 2 gentlemen. If only one of them or both of them would stop and attend the dialogue or sit around the table and try to find a solution and stop the pain of millions of the Sudanese people who are now marching or fleeing into Ethiopia, into Chad, Central Africa, into so many areas, that would have been a great service for the people of the Sudan. But instead, I'll give it back to you, but instead, they are fighting to the end, it seems. And in that process, as always, when 2 elephants fight, as our African proverb says, it is the people who get hurt. Sudan is now under pressure. It is imploding. It is imploding from within. That will have negative consequences and impacts on the immediate neighboring countries, as well as destabilize the Horn of Africa, as well as all the way to Central African Republic and to Chad.
Well, you can watch that full interview with Professor Brooke Sherba on Diplomatic Channel later today, 8:30 p.m. on the UK platform and 11:30 p.m. That's on DSTV. Let's check in on South Africa, where health authorities are calling on residents of the province of Gauteng to be vigilant about the liquids they consume as the death toll from a winter outbreak of cholera rises to nearly 50. Unions and community groups have demanded more government intervention to improve the water quality. Most of the deaths over the last 6 weeks have occurred in the Hammanskraal area, where residents say they have battled for weeks for access to clean water, but there have been cases across the country. In many areas, tap water is unsafe and people are forced to rely on government tankers. In another development, it has been winter wonderland in Johannesburg, South Africa's largest city, as residents woke up to the rare sight of snowfall today. They were treated to unusual scenes as fluffy white snowflakes cascaded from the sky, transforming the city into a captivating winter wonderland. While Johannesburg often experiences a few months of the winter chills, a significant snowfall of this magnitude is a rare occurrence. The unexpected snowfall has taken the city by surprise, luring cheerful residents to emerge from their homes to immerse themselves into a winter experience.
This is not a common sight in Gauteng province, South Africa. Johannesburg, for example, last saw snow in 2012, but here we are. The Weather Service had warned that the night of Sunday, the 9th of July, would be the coldest so far in the province in 2023. And it's brought with it snow, lots of excited adults and children, as well as warnings for caution on the roads. The Gauteng Metro Rail service has also announced that train services have been adversely affected by the cold weather conditions. But overall, across the city, people are making the best of the snowfall. For some, it's a first.
This is my first snow experience and it's very cold, but it's very beautiful and I'm enjoying the view of it, but it's freezing. What we're experiencing now is so amazing. It's our first experience. I can say for me, it's my first experience and I'm so excited and I don't know.
It makes me feel very happy and lovely to see snow in South Africa. We don't usually see it, so just a few flakes here and there is enough.
Dress warm, drive carefully, and be cautious with heating devices at home, so says the Weather Service, as more adverse weather is expected throughout this week, with much heavier snow expected in the Eastern Cape province. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Welcome back. Let's stay a bit longer with the weather. The World Meteorological Organization has warned that Antarctic sea ice levels reached record lows last month, a worrying development experts say coincided with exceptionally high global sea surface temperatures. WMO said the Antarctic sea ice levels last month, the hottest June ever recorded, were at their lowest since satellite observations began at 17% below average. Global sea surface temperatures were at record high for the first time of the year in May and June. That's according to the agency, which warned that the warming of the world's oceans was spreading fast beyond their surface. The organization said that the El Nino weather pattern, which recently emerged, was expected to increase temperatures both on land and in the oceans, which could lead to more marine heat waves and extreme pressure temperatures.
There really is completely unprecedented, this kind of reduction in sea ice that we've seen around the Antarctic. The Antarctic region is normally thought of being relatively stable. It's much colder than the Arctic. We're used to seeing, these big reductions in sea ice in the Arctic, but not in the Antarctic. It's around about 5 standard deviations for the mathematicians around here, below what we would expect or we have seen in the past. And this is a massive decrease. And the scientific community are struggling to a certain extent to keep up. I see a lot of things online in social media with scientists being incredibly concerned about particularly the ocean temperatures and the reduction in sea ice extent. Because we have to remember that the oceans absorb more than 90% of the excess heat that humans put into the atmosphere because of greenhouse gases. So that's where we need to make these reductions. But if the oceans are warming considerably, that has a knock-on effect on the atmosphere, on sea ice and ice worldwide. So yeah, there's a lot of concerns from the scientific community, and a lot of catch-up from the scientific community trying to understand these incredible changes we're seeing at the moment, and it's very concerning.
Over in India's state of Himachal Pradesh, we understand there was reeling under torrential rains that triggered landslides, stranding commuters and tourists. The media reports that at least 22 people have died in floods and landslides in that area. Neighboring Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, as well as Punjab on Sunday. Flash floods in Himachal Pradesh over the weekend brought down a bridge, swept away houses, as authorities used helicopters to rescue people stranded on roads and bridges. New Delhi, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh have received 112%, 100% and 70% more rainfall than average, respectively, so far in the current monsoon season that started June the 1st. In the meantime, torrential rain lashed Japan's southern Fukuoka prefecture today, killing at least one person as authorities urged tens of thousands of people to leave their homes. One woman in her 70s was killed when a landslide hit her house in the prefecture, while 3 people were missing after a landslide hit 2 homes in neighboring Saga prefecture. That's according to NHK public broadcaster. The Land Ministry confirmed the downpours have flooded at least 8 rivers and caused dozens of mudslides in the region, including an area that had previously been hit by heavy rainfall, killing a dozen people in July 2017. The region received over 500 millimeters of rain since Friday, with an additional 200 millimeters expected to fall up to early morning tomorrow, Tuesday, and that's according to Japan's meteorological agency. Just staying with the weather in the U.S., hours of thunderstorms on Sunday in the lower Hudson River Valley left highways and houses flooded in Rockland, Putnam and Orange counties in New York. Local television outlets reported almost 1 foot of rain fell in the area north of New York City, with WABC saying there were reports of cars being swept away in the rain. Local media reports that police closed roads and issued a rare flash flood emergency, telling residents to move to higher ground and avoid travel. Well, from the floods to the sweltering heat in Europe, Italians and tourists today battled temperatures of up to 37 degrees Celsius as they took in the sights of Rome. Among those were tourists and bride-to-be from the southern Italian city of Bari, Maria Cadesso, who came to celebrate with her friends her bachelorette party in Rome. She said they were well equipped for the heat, arming themselves with sprinklers and thermal water. Well, staying with the weather, and just imagine how uncomfortable it is for the animals. And that's why Berlin Zoo is handing out ice cream to its inhabitants. And silverback Sango makes sure to get the best share of it. Kristen Oss, a primate ranger at the zoo, describes the behavior of the rest of the troop. The female members of the family only become more courageous once the lead gorilla leaves pieces behind alongside 4 female gorillas. Sango has been living in the Berlin Zoo since 2019, fathering the now 2-year-old gorilla offspring Tilla. The cool treats for the primates are made of sugar-free fruit tea and yogurt. Pastel pigs and tapirs, home to Southeast Asia, receive frozen vegetables and also fruits. According to the German Meteorological Service, Deutsche Wetterdienst, temperatures will rise over the upcoming weeks, with the temperatures around 30 degrees Celsius.
Da wird sich zwar der Brauchmeister wundern, aber Schweine sind auch lustig. So, das sollten wir jetzt schon finden. Wir gehen da, wo es schön ist. Komm, wir gehen auf die große Anlage. Die kommen ja alle hinterhergerannt, wie die kleinen Kinder, wenn die sowas sehen.
Vielleicht ist man es halt quasi so hier nicht, dass man in die Richtung filmen kann.
Wollen wir zum Tapir, weil bis sie weggefressen haben, dauert eine Stunde.
Vielleicht noch ein
And that's the world today. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Bye for now.